What's going on, guys? For today's video, I'm going to be going over some more options for your clothing brand, going over some accessories that you may have overlooked, and just giving you some more options to kind of think about for your brand. If you look previously, I have done two other videos regarding some kind of underrated accessories that I've seen a lot of smaller and bigger brands do. So, yeah, I'm going to kind of go over some smaller brands, bigger brands that kind of do some unique accessories, and hopefully just give you some inspiration to kind of go out and do your own thing, whether that be something simple like a card holder or a hat or thing of that nature, or something a little more obscure. But hopefully at the end of the day, just want to give you some more inspiration to be thinking about, and also seeing how other brands are executing on something like accessories so well. And one thing to note is I believe accessories, generally speaking, have a pretty good margin built into it. So I think it's just really smart too for most brands, and just as a business function, to be thinking about how accessories are a play in their playbook. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, cool. So the first brand I have is brand Plus One. They just did this collaboration with this artist. I don't know how to say it, Vame. I'm not really sure. But they did a lot of cool stuff, and one of the things they did were these wallet chains. I think this is a really cool accessory. And I think wallets and wallet chains are still really underrated. If you see my page, I've talked a lot about card holders and wallets. I still think they're really underrated. You can see some of the stuff that Plus One has done right here in the past. These really cool kind of curvy little card holders. But they also have done a lot of wallet chains, and so they did one for this collaboration most recently. And yeah, I think this is super sick. I think it's art direction too. We should also talk about that. For this shot is really cool, using the chopsticks for obviously the wallet chain instead of what's traditionally noodles. Yeah, I think this is a super sick idea, concept, and I think a lot of brands can kind of lean into that and be thinking about something like a wallet chain as part of their playbook. Next up, Jackus Christ, definitely one of my favorite underrated brands. Yeah, he just does a lot of cool work overall, and kind of just want to highlight again some of his wallets and card holders. Definitely a little bit more on the unique side. Some brands can kind of just do the simple. If you have a really strong brand, you probably can get away with just doing a simple card holder or wallet with just some simple branding and call it a day with some just good quality, nice color. But something like this, where you have first of all handmade in a place like Ecuador, as opposed to just going, the China route like most brands do, myself included. Um, yeah, I think this is just another little option, and yeah, I think it speaks for itself, and just some really, really good work. Obviously, this is a brand that's more backed as the person as an artist, which is why you see just this really cool artwork. So yeah, love to see stuff like this, and I think a lot of brands and artists can kind of tap into stuff like that in general. And he's got a lot of cooler pieces. I think he's even, I don't know if he's dropped this or this just for the photo shoots, but he has like swords and just a lot of other crazy stuff. We have this helmet right here, this really cool duffel. So yeah, really cool artist, and does a ton of cool work. Again, we see a charm bracelet. I know I've talked about bracelets in the past. Still think again those are something that's really something that can be executed on well. I'm not really just like the cheap ones that we see. I don't want to say cheap, but we've seen brands like Euphoric Supply or even like Camp in the Drought do this kind of bracelets where you're just putting a couple like graphic pendants and putting them together. I think one like this is a little more, just a little more quality, and I think the direction behind this requires a little more effort. So yeah, I think this charm bracelet looks really cool, and love to see more stuff like that. Next up, we have, okay, cool. So I wanted to highlight this one. This one's a little different, but I still think this helps for what we're trying to achieve. What I'm trying to achieve with this. So this artist Ricky Prosper did this post where he shows album promo gift concepts. First of all, shout out him. He is a really cool artist. Follow him on IG. Been following him for a while. But this kind of made me really think about like types of just kind of again like accessory concepts you can be doing for your brand. So one thing is artists. I think merch needs to be done better, and I love to see just stuff like this done more and more. But also as brands, we have the freedom to kind of create really obscure and unique products like these, like a, I don't know, lip balm, and you're a traditional clothing brand, right? To do something like a water gun, like a wooden airplane, a letter opener. I've even thought about doing that for my brand. It's called Apologetic Letter, so kind of fits in with it, but you get the point. And I just really want you to kind of unlock that kind of creative freedom, and really just be thinking about what you can be doing that's very unique and different than no other brand has really done before, right? If you really think about it, look at a brand like Supreme. They still do those seasonal gifts for the first drop of every season. They'll always do something, whether it's like a bouncy ball, I think it's like a shower cap. I do all kinds of stuff, but again, it kind of comes down to that point of like dropping something that no one else has like released, right? And so yeah, I think that's just a really smart play. We'll love to see what people can come up with. especially artist merch. We'll love to see more unique concepts like this come to fruition. But as brands, again, just get let your freedom, let your imagination kind of run wild, and yeah, think about some concepts like that. Next up, rings. I wanted to shout out one of my favorite artists, Rakitect. Really cool guy. He does some really cool work. And again, I think rings are still super underrated. Whether they're very simple or very crazy and kind of out there. I still think there's a lot of room for brands to be messing around with something like rings, especially for a lot of these products I'm showing you. Especially if you aren't a jewelry brand, I still think there's something to even lean more into. If it's something that you're not traditionally used to dropping, especially if you have developed an audience, if you've been a brand for multiple years, you kind of have a following, whatnot. Be experimenting, just trying new stuff, right? I think that's how you really grow in anything, but especially growing your brand. You want to be thinking about how you can expand your product line outside of the standard things, whatever it is you may be dropping, or that is like some maybe you do a lot of blank kind of hoodies, or you do some graphic tees or whatever that is. Mix it up and see kind of again sample something, tease it on the IG or TikTok or something like that, and see kind of how people are feeling with it. So something like this, again, with this concept too, tied back with a recent Drake song, which is a cool concept. I think this is just like a one-off kind of thing. But yeah, really cool concept, and I think more people should look into getting things like that. He even did something recently too, like a little planter for the Maybach that maybe Virgil designed. I think that was the inspiration behind it. But again, just be thinking about these products that most brands aren't dropping or most people aren't dropping. And if you're able to create something that's kind of unique in that space, I think it's a good thing. The worst case, you spend a little bit of money, sample something, and find out it's not going to work for you or what for whatever reason. But yeah, I think more often than not, you're going to win a lot more. Next up, I think I covered this one as well in my last video, but again, wanted to shout out Hypeland with Jordan Bentley. Done a lot of cool work, and he did this recent, I think, Attack on Titan. I don't really watch anime, but yeah, doing AirPod Max headphone covers and just things like that. I think are really cool concepts. Also, if you're someone that's looking to do some type of work in the accessories world, I've found this place before, or this like manufacturing company, High Life Tech. You can check them out on IG or their website. I haven't worked with them personally, but I know a lot of people that have, and they've worked with a ton of up and coming brands, even like the ones I just showed you with that plus one. Um, yeah, funny enough, that one Jackus Christ, apparently they did that as well. Did the Yu-Gi-Oh! Steady Hands collaboration and the Hypeland Attack on Titan AirPod Max covers. So yeah, check them out because they do a lot of good work, and not really sure how much it costs again, but I know a lot of like pretty small brands work with them too, so I can't imagine the costs are too crazy. But yeah, if you need some work done, I would check them out. Next up, again, kind of going into some more obscure things, and not really to be thinking about trying to replicate this idea, but just be thinking about the potential for creativity and what you can do. So this brand Tombogo, pretty cool brand. They do some really cool stuff from time to time. But they recently did this type of they dropped a camera that has these special features. I haven't again looked too much into it, but apparently has a lot of these kind of like really cool features that make it feel like this vintage aesthetic. It's got all these built-in filters for it that you see a lot popularized on social media. And then they also dropped this pocket flashlight that I don't know a ton about, but apparently again kind of gives that ambiance, that setting that's really popular on social media. And yeah, it's pretty cool to see a brand that's essentially been always clothing and tapping into shoes, and now doing something kind of very like left field with this camera and pocket flashlight. Almost kind of invented something new. In a way, I think is the concept. It wasn't just like a branded like disposable camera or something like that. We really took the time and effort and product development and R&D to develop something new like this, and then also do this pocket flashlight as well. Again, I don't know a ton about all of this, but I've been kind of following it here and there. I know they did some seeding with some other popular influencers, which is how I first saw it. So yeah, pretty cool to see a brand do something just completely left field like that, and something to think about for your brand. Next up, toys and vinyl figures. I definitely think if you are first of all an artist of some sort, to be thinking about like doing vinyl figures, I think they're a really cool concept. I think they're somewhat affordable for people that do a decent sized run. So if you have a decent audience, and for brands, if you have some type of mascot or you're able to develop some type of like figure or something like that for your brand, I've seen some other bigger brands like Came Up in the Drought did one. I've definitely considered doing it for my brand, especially when I get a little bigger. But yeah, I think this brand, again, Supra, don't know a ton about them, found out about them recently. They did a Uniqlo collab, but really cool to see these figures that they did. And I'm sure these sold really well. And I think it's something that other brands and just artists should tap into for sure. Next up, we have Jordan Bentley again with these grills. Won't get too much into it, but again, something like this is very unique. You don't see brands dropping grills or something like that. And I think it's a really unique concept. It definitely works for his brand a lot as he taps into a lot of licensed collections. So yeah, you combine his brand Hypeland with a massive IP like Marvel, doing something like a grill, which has never been done before for something like Marvel or whatever, and yeah, you have a hit. And I think this is something, especially if you're at the minimum like a social media play, for a lot of brands to do. Yeah, something to definitely be thinking about. And second to last, wanted to highlight the brand Hidden New York. Cannot recommend enough checking them out if you're looking for inspiration for your brand. They just do a phenomenal job of building brand, first of all, that they have done through Instagram as a kind of archive page. But secondly, their product is just second to none. They do a phenomenal job on their traditional clothes as well as all of the very unique accessories that they do. I think that's one standout point that I've really noticed from them. We have stuff like this headphone collaboration with this AI audio. We have stuff like lighters. We have stuff like more lighters. We have water bottles, then Nalgene. We have these crates. Yeah, phenomenal brand. Definitely want to check out. And if you're looking for inspiration for stuff like on the accessory side, again, guys, be thinking about just what kind of things like work within your brand. Again, if you are a sports brand, maybe something like a baseball bat and make 5 of them or something like that, could work. Thing about skateboard decks, there's a lot of things out there that I think can help expand your brand's horizon, and make something that's really fun for customers, even something like some ping pong paddles and boards, especially if you make these types of accessories 30, 40, 50, $60, and they're only costing you guys like $5, $6 a piece. You have amazing margins. They're somewhat cheaper products that allows customers an easier way into your ecosystem. And yeah, I think it's just a win-win overall, and just having fun with it and doing stuff away from just your traditional graphic tees and hoodies, and then you can go a long, long way. And then lastly, yes, I had this brand slash artist, Jebediah Ryder. I think he does Ryder Studios. Actually created some type of accessory, essentially a holder for his Xbox console. I think this is the actual like better video that highlights how it works. But yeah, I think it's just really cool to showcase the creativity of again going outside the box and creating something like a console holder. Something that again no other brand's really doing. I think that's where you kind of want to start thinking about A, what is something that another brand really hasn't made, or B, what is something that's still somewhat untapped and has a lot of potential, and then what can you do with that? Can you change just the logo and branding, or can you really develop some really unique elements about it? And so whether if you even if you like this or don't like this, I think it's just good to help build inspiration. It does well on social, and there's a lot you can take away from these types of things for your brand. So yeah, that's all I have for today, guys. Again, wanted to get back to some more marketing content. I'm going to be just, again, so my phone's ran out of storage 3 times now. It's currently midnight. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Going to be continuing to do more business marketing content. So, again, please leave a like, comment if you can, positive or negative, and subscribe if you're not already. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Hopefully tomorrow in my next video. Thanks.